welcome to Hatter After Dark, the late night variety show where we do some Gunpla 3D modeling and I guess plastic customization. We'll see what we get into. I'm, of course, Steven, aka Midnight Hatter, your host, and because my child is asleep, you get my 1-900 voice. It's only $3 a minute for the first 12 minutes, and then $69.99 after that. Hope you all are doing well. I hope you all are looking forward to tonight. I don't know how long we're going to go. Typically I am incapable of finishing a high grade model kit within, 4 or 5 days. So we'll see how long this takes me being a real grade. um, Ultronomus, good to see you in chat. Actually, today's stream is sponsored, of course, by Sieg New York. They are the ones that so generously provided this real grade Gundam Epyon that we're going to be building tonight. And I'm really excited because this is by far my favorite Gundam from Gundam Wing. So, because the Tall Geese doesn't count as a Gundam, right? It's technically not, debate in the chat. I'll let you guys sort that out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to digging into this, and we'll, talk about maybe what we're going to do with it and that sort of thing. But shout out to Zeonic Shadow and the boys from Sieg New York for sponsoring this stream. Let me go ahead and get us into our screen share view here. By the way, you can save 5% off your Gunpla purchases from prexhobby.com using promo code Midnight Hatter. Again, you're going to hear Adam and I talking about them a lot on account of the fact that they are the only Canadian supplier of P Bandai that I know of. So if you know anyone else, let me know. What's up, no one? Glad to see you in the chat. No, I don't count the Tall Geese as a Gundam. I'm just going to go ahead and highlight that right there. Oh, did my chat not pop up? Then we need to fix that before we get too far into the weeds here. Chat pop up. We want that up here. Let's make sure that we've got the right link in there. And hopefully that should come on up. Maybe not. Well, we'll see what happens. Oh, good to see you, Dan. Interesting. Don't see no one on YouTube mobile. Huh. That is an interesting thing. I wonder what's going on with the stream here, because I'm not actually able to get the chat up in the stream. So you guys are just gonna have to deal with me reading it. Now, I did unbox this previously and got all of the runners out of the plastic bags. I didn't want you guys to have to deal with all the crinkling and crackling and all that good stuff. So, yeah, you do get to see me sort of reacting to the initial shock of this thing. Man, these parts are super tiny. I'm really hoping that they... if you guys know anything about me, you know that I am not a huge fan of the scale of Gundam Wing or any of the AU Gundams, F91, Seed, the way that they're just ever so slightly shorter than the UC mobile suits. That was something that always bothered me about the high grades. Actually, not a terrible sticker sheet as far as real grades go. Let's see what we've got here. Good deal. Well, hey, good to see you, no one. The chat is separated like Gunpla runners. There you go. What's up, Zeonic Shadow? Good to see you in chat as well. We've got H here. Now, this is something that I do want to show off because I don't know what I'm going to do with some of these beam effect parts, because technically they're already pretty reactive to UV light. So, like, we'll see if this will... Yeah, I mean, just a little black light makes these things pop. So I probably won't do anything crazy with them. But I did notice on Twitter, a user whose username I cannot pronounce was able to do what I was not. And that is, they were able to get a Gunpla part that was black to glow orange under blacklight. Now, he used the same fluorescent UV neon paints that I use, but rather than trying to cast the parts in resin the way that I did, he simply layer painted them. So we're going to have to try that out. In Wing's case, it's less egregious because everything Wing is in scale, but F91 really bothers me. Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's like I feel like the character from C-Lab 2021 that's just like, but why so short? Why can you only be 5 feet tall? um interesting. Okay, so I'm glad that the chat issue was resolved. Let's see. I am looking for runner number A. I think. No, we're looking for H, which conveniently I've got right here. Now, what's interesting is I'm looking at the instruction manual. I've got it up, propped up here, and it still has the thing in the description about there being a inner frame that you can just cut out, even though they stopped doing that with the real grades. So we need 29, 30, and I promise I am going to try and work quickly on this. You know, not too quickly. I don't want to screw it up, but you know, we are going to try and accomplish as much as we can in one sitting. So we need 29, 30, 31, and 44. And according to the manual, some of these are undergated parts, so we'll have to be careful about that. I do like undergating, though. I mean, it's like, whenever possible, it's nice to not have to deal with that. Got my gun primer razor, and then I've got my poor man's so we've got the gun primer balancer here, but this thing has seen better days. So I have the poor man's version, which is just a you know, sanding block from the grocery store. But it's got the, you know, the smooth buff polish sides. It's all good. I see what it's talking about with these undergates. Anywhere where you can hide potential nub marks is ideal, right? And Arno from C-Lab was voiced by the guy from Chips, wasn't he? Rockers Los Angeles, that's a nice kit. It is. I am looking forward to the completed version. It's got to be better than the version I had when I was 13. Before they even started doing uh, grades. Well, I guess they had a high grade, but these were all like no grades. All right. So we begin by assembling the feet. Okay. Oh, I guess we need to do 2 of these. Now, I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to do any kind of heavy customization with these. Let me know in the chat if you guys think I should. If I should make this some kind of Sieg New York custom or something altogether different. Let's see. Um, well, I guess I would need to, if I was going to make a Sieg New York custom, it would have to have some of those custom Sieg New York decals that I designed. Or designed, I mean, I just printed them. Credit to the designer. Um, but yes, Epyon customs do go pretty hard. And yeah, I mean, it's just a fantastic mobile suit. I actually just recently rewatched the episode where Hero pilots the Epyon for the first time. Um, as you guys might have seen, I had on my good friend Wayne Snow, the frontman for Howling at the Earth, on stream a few weeks back. And, one of the things that we bonded over was Gundam Wing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw together a lyric video of his latest single, Avalanche, set to some Gundam Wing animations. And, getting to the tail end of the song. Hopefully I'll have the full edit done sometime in the next week or so. But later, towards the end of the song, Epyon goes real hard. Alright, so now we need D14, which I assume is going to be another one that we have 2 sheets of because, yep. Now these are probably the parts I'm going to be the most delicate with because I know that red plastic stresses very, very easily. Oh, so easily. Um, Compared to other forms of plastic. I'm not sure why. I know that when I was working at my old company, we even talked about, when it comes to making red textile products, like we made golf bags, and when we would make red golf bags, the red on like the red dye in the fabric just fades so much faster than every other color. And for a golf bag, something that's going to be exposed to sun a lot, that's not a good thing. Yes, amen to that. Uh, I'm disappointed that you think so little of Wing, but oh man. So the chat works now, but it's like behind the hobby code here. Let me pop that over top. Boop, boop. All right, yeah. For as little as I think of late Wing, Zex cutting through barge goes exceptionally hard. Yeah, and one of the things, and this is something that Adam and I have talked about countless times on the Gundam Explained show, is music. And I have to say that of all of the Gundam series, man, the music in Gundam Wing goes so freaking hard. And I'm not just talking about like the opening credits and that kind of stuff, because that stuff kind of goes without saying. But what I would say is like just the dramatic music, like the Wing Zero theme and the Epyon theme, that like bum 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 bum, so fantastic. And so yeah, the whole, like I said, I've been working on that music video for Wayne Snow, or music video, more like a lyric video slash AMV. And I got to that episode where Hero pilots the Epyon, and man, when it just like the first time you see the Epyon and he and Treize are standing in there, and he's just like, "You made your own Gundam," and Treize is like, "Yeah," and it showed me that I have no future, so I want you to pilot it. Yeah. Um, Zionic Shadow says that Epyon number one favorite in Wing besides the Tall Geese. Yeah, we were just talking about that. Hey, that's kind of interesting. My hat almost matches the color of the Epyon. I didn't do that intentionally, I assure you. but um, but yeah, Tall Geese, Death Scythe, and Heavy Arms, excellent, excellent mobile suits. I'm a big fan of Shenlong, and I think Adam and I talked about this. I love mobile suits with, gimmicks of some kind, right? So like when it comes to Epyon being this melee oriented mobile suit and Shenlong having its, you know, dragon fangs. I guess I like the dragon themed ones. Yeah. There you go. Zionic Shadow, you better come back as a loser. That's, oh man. Treize, like, I love Char Aznable, but Treize is probably the best Gundam villain. Something about Treize is just so freaking awesome. All right, number 10 here. But yeah, so where was I? We were talking about the first Epyon appearance, talking about how red plastic stresses easier than other colors of plastic. Something about red dyes, man. They just do not hold up. Yeah, I definitely identify more with Treize's motivations behind what he was doing than Miliardo Peacecraft, especially after, the White Fang starts and all that stuff. It's like, you know, they tried so hard to make him seem like Char during that last fight with Hero, and he's, doing his whole intellectual exercise. I still have to prove that I'm one of the weak people in the world. What are you talking about? Zex had no motivations. Yes, he was Char written by people who didn't understand Char. Yeah, pretty much. And that's a shame. All right, we get our first little taste of these sexy clear parts. Okay. Well, so far this is coming together pretty easily, and I love when, you can assemble these limbs like in one go. One of my pet peeves when it comes to Gunpla is like building an entire leg and then having to build the entire second leg. Yeah, I'm gonna keep saying it. Is like Trey's reminds me of like Big Boss from Metal Gear. Um, I think that both of them have this like passion and admiration for soldiers, but they are, cynical about the nation states that use soldiers for their own, devious purposes. And so it's just interesting. And now I didn't read the Gundam Wing manga, Glory of the Losers or whatever. Does that go in any more depth into Trey's motivations um, than the show did? As cool as Endless Waltz is in a lot of ways, I think that there's a lot of stuff I didn't like about it, and story wise, I think it's really dumb. um, I mean, just Trey's having this daughter that's crazy, and I don't even know what she wants to become dictator of the world, I guess. Um, and then I don't like the way that it was kind of retconned that Troa Barton was not the real Troa Barton. I feel like they just needed to find a way to make Troa relevant because as far as the core 5 Gundam pilots go, and I know that there's going to be some disagreement in chat because we have very few Wu-Fei appreciators in the world. I didn't think that Troa's story arc in either the anime or the Endless Waltz movie was particularly compelling. Um, I think that, obviously there's, Wu Fei's misogynist streak, but what's awesome about that is that he does like come around on that. So it's like, even if you hate his character out of the gate, you have to appreciate that he he resolves that through people like Sally Poe and Lucrezia Noin. Um, Also, I gotta say, I like the naming conventions in Wing. I mean, they're very like they're pretty cool. We have one. His name is Saint Kingdom. Amen, brother. See, Eddie and I, kindred spirits there. If only my luscious locks came in as beautifully as his do. That man's head of hair should be like in a L'Oreal commercial. Tro was ostensibly the inspiration for Cloud in Final Fantasy VII. That's why he's shit protagonist too. Yeah, yeah. I don't, and but like Catra's cool. Like he has like this story arc going on where he's got like the Benager syndrome where he just, is fighting for peace, but even he has like his whole relationship with Dorothy where he kind of his ideology is challenged by her just like battle lust, whatever it is. If I had to describe Duo's character arc, um, I don't know. He doesn't, on the surface, he doesn't seem to change much, but I think that he begins to take things much more seriously. He realizes that he's not indestructible. Well, no arguments there. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and leave that chat up for a while because Camille is a 10 out of 10 protagonist. I don't care what you Camille haters have to say. All right. Now we need a couple of these H slots here. 34, 35, and 28. But yeah, I am gonna start doing these late night streams, and maybe I will start calling them Hatter After Dark. I've been using that as kind of a pseudonym for some of my alt accounts, so I think that Hatter After Dark has a nice ring to it, especially with these later in the evening streams, because typically I'm streaming in the afternoons. But I'm going to be working on this, obviously. I'm going to be working on some other sponsored builds, such as shout out to Ultronomus. I've got another real grade in the backlog. What's with you guys sending me real grades? It takes me forever to build a high grade. But no, I'm kidding. I appreciate what you guys send me because, it really does get me outside of my bubble. As you guys know, I would, if it were up to me, I'd probably build nothing but high grade Zetas just over and over and over again. So I appreciate you guys getting me outside of my comfort zone and playing with some of these other kits that have some amazing gimmicks to offer. Um, so this obviously sponsored by Sieg New York. I did, if you're watching on Twitch, obviously you don't get the links down in the description, but if you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching the replay here, go check out the links in the description because we've got Sieg New York on X and Instagram. Excellent group of builders up in the tri-state area, the 5 boroughs, if you will. And just they put on some amazing live events. It was really cool. They were at Brookland a couple weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago or just 1 week ago that you guys were at Brookland with Pop Curator and putting on a free build night? Or I guess build day, technically. It ran through the afternoon. But yeah, I mean, I was amazed at the crowd that showed up for that. So, really bringing the live events and the local community together for some of these things. And it's one of the things that we talked about over on the Free Speech Geek show this past Monday when we had Chris Riley on, and he was talking about like, oh, well, how do you get to interact with some of these some of these big name voice actors and people in like the geeky community and stuff like that. And it's like, I'll say it again, is like people into nerd things are the most social introverts you will ever meet, because if you just talk to them about the things that they like, then you're gonna have like a great conversation. And so what I've learned getting into my own local hobby community and hanging out with the guys from Sieg New York is that if you're looking to grow your Gunpla skills and things like that, get off of Reddit and like go to local spots and, hang out with local folks because they will help you and force you to grow and get outside your comfort zone. And, if you need advice, they got you. So that's my 2 cents. Let's do this here this way. Yeah, 1 week ago, last Saturday. Now, that said, for some of these, late night streams, if I don't have a sponsored build that I'm going to be doing, then I'll be working on something custom. Um, this week on the live show with Adam, I mentioned that I'm going to be working on a custom involving this little guy, the S Gundam booster unit, which can we appreciate the stunning artwork in this book for the age of this kit is amazing. Now, it says that these are option parts, but like I don't know if it actually comes with the core fighter. Suffice to say, I do have two of this kit. One of them I am using for parts for my Zeta Plus C1 Hummingbird, and the other one I'm going to just build straight out, which should be fun. But yeah, we're going to be wiring that sucker up with some LEDs and doing some fun stuff with it. So come with me on a ride through time and space. Let's see. Katoki's old Sentinel artwork goes hard. Yeah. Weren't I saying the other day that I am not a Katoki fan? You did hear that correctly. I am not the biggest Katoki fan in the world. Um, yeah, something about his work, you know, just doesn't speak to me like Okawara's does. I think that it's a little too rendered. Um, I think that the silhouettes that Katoki designs are really good, but kind of overdoes it on the panel lining, which I know that there's memes out there that it's like, here's your Verka. It's just the same thing, but with lots of panel lines. Um, Ironically, the Zeta Verka has very few panel lines compared to other Verkas. All right. H45. So yeah, I would say that I like Katoki's work more than some other mecha designers who I don't think even nail the silhouettes down quite well. But yeah, he does tend to over-render things and put too much detail into certain places, in my opinion. Let's not Oh, looking at the wrong page here. I was like, there's no 15 on here. As far as builds go, if I'm going to give this kit an early review, I have to say that the parts layout on the actual runners is very intuitive. It's like feet parts are close to other feet parts, and obviously it's coming together quite quickly. We've got these two dragon feet already ready to go. Come on, open your mouth. Meow, meow, meow. Meow, meow, meow. Hey now, wing designs are not the low point of anyone's career. Oh yes, the MS Ninja. No one's gonna see that 20-meter tall robot coming running at you with kunai. You know, it reminds me of the debate that frequently goes on over on my Discord when we were talking about, Gundam tabletop games and, you know, the the one that I did that's based on D&D. Everyone's like, "Oh, why isn't there a monk class?" You know, as if mobile suits are going to be like fist fighting. I'm like, because mobile suits don't have key points and they can't do a stunning strike and make another mobile suit skip a turn. And if they did, it would be a piece of equipment, such as the kunai used by our Ifrit Nacht. Doop, doop, doop. There we go. Oh, cheers. Thanks for the sub. Hopefully you appreciate my little Zeta Gundam animation there that popped up. Um, I'm glad it's actually working tonight. Oh, see, I'm already messing up. If you are playing the Hatter screws up drinking game, then you got to take a shot. There we go. You can't have someone's go-to resolution. Um, so the closest, okay, let's see. I think the closest you could do to a monk class in Gundam 5e would be a class that's good at utilizing its body grappling, kicking, char style. I think that was like the biggest example. I was like, if you can give me one example from UC Gundam of a mobile suit that uses melee combat exclusively, then, you know, I'll consider it. And it's like, oh, well, there's that scene where Char kicks Amuro. It's like, okay, well, that was like not that's not him using that exclusively. That was him like acting out of desperation. And it's like, oh, well, what about Kukuru's Doan's Island? And Doan has his moves, and it's like that's because his gun was out of ammo. Like he hadn't used his gun in months. It's just silliness. There you go. Attack of opportunity. Even the Gian uses ranged weapons and traps. Yeah, pretty much. That's what it comes down to. So 38 and 40. Plus, and I hope you guys are particularly excited about this, but I have gotten some video scripts done, and the recordings are mostly done. There's a couple of outstanding B-roll footage that I need to get done in order to put out some edited content, which we have been missing so dearly from the channel. uh, I know I've been promising it for a long time, but I've finally reached a point where we can talk about recycling runners. So you guys are the first to hear about it here. I'm going to be doing basically like a full science lesson on on recycling runners because there's a lot to know about plastic. Oh, cheers, Andrew. Good to see you there. Um, so we've got that. Um, as soon as I can get some of my other devices working, and not to sound too cryptic about it, but there is something that I'm working on that requires using a machine that I'm not quite familiar with using. Once I get that down, there's going to be a video on something related to that. So, again, going cryptic again, just because I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver as I am prone to doing. Plus, now that I have the experience granted to me by that Twitter user whose name I can't pronounce, I'm definitely going to try making my glow heat sabers and heat hawks and things like that again. Now, like I said, he uses a method slightly different to mine, whereas I mixed the UV glow in the dark pigments in with some black resin and tried to cast the parts. He simply applied several layers of paint. So I think he started with a black base coat and then a silver gloss coat, and then applied the clear UV paint on top of that. And then finally, it was just a top coat after that, I think. I'll have to go back and look at my translated tweet. But he definitely has the secret sauce that I do not. Yeah, maybe it was retconned in a stupid way that there's like a million Gyans now, just like there were a million Zeongs according to Odagaki and the Thunderbolt timeline. D5. Be careful not to bonk my head on this camera stand here. I guess technically I need to do this twice. Yeah, there are two A10s, two H39s and 40s. And again, a lot of these parts are undergated, which is pretty awesome. Ooh. Officially, there were 3 Zeong prototypes, and if anyone retcon that, I'll throw them out the window. Oh yeah, the perfect Zeong, the one with the legs. Oh, what's up, Taco and Yoshi? You just finished the Sky Defender on live stream today. Ooh, I'll need to check that out. So far, this has been a fun build. Um, Considering that the only other real grades that I've built have been Sharzaku, the Gundam Mark II, and the Zeta Gundam. I feel like the bar is incredibly low for real grade kits to be enjoyable for me. Um, well, and I like that the Perfect Zeong basically just has like Gelgoog legs. It's not like they're anything fancy. They're just giant Gelgoog legs because it's a giant mobile suit. Oh, wait, cheers, thanks for the follow. Ooh. So the perfect Zeong is going to be in Gundam Breaker 4. I'm on my third month of, yeah, so Taco and Yoshi says I'm on my third month of the hobby and the Sky Defender was a big jump. Next is the HG Calibarn followed by AO Bing? I'm not sure I know what that one is. But hey, cheers and welcome to the hobby. I'm amazed at your at how quickly you're, kind of moving along in terms of kits that you are going for. Um, Although, I mean, it's a Gunpla is a hobby that you can advance very quickly and very in a very short period of time because there's so many resources to take advantage of. Let's grab this other fin and then H36. 36, you say? Yeah, there we go. Again, I have to compliment the fact that this kit is very deliberate about the placing of its parts, right? So here we have the H runner, which we have two of them because obviously there's left and right limbs to be assembled. And so far, everything that is in the feet and lower legs has all been down here in this quadrant. You're not like pulling stuff from over here and pulling stuff from over there. So props to the engineering department for creating something that is, you know, very intuitive. And honestly, I think that that's pretty common in the real grade line. For a guy like me that's used to building high grades and RE100s, it's like, what? A build that makes sense? Third party Chinese by Motor Nuclear. I have one. Interesting. There's a lot of awesome third party kits out there. You just kind of have to sort through them and, read reviews and pick out things that look good. Still got to build my first real grade. Yeah, Zionic Shadow, you got to get on that, man. How are you gonna sit here and tell me what I need to build? Oh man. Let's see here. Gotta make sure I don't do this all backwards. Okay, so this is a tricky little assembly here, but I feel like it's gonna be worth it because so this goes in here, this goes in here, and this goes here. Okay. Uh, so this entire knee joint is like on a hinge and a slider, which is pretty cool. Oh no. The motor nuclear models are very sharp. So while I agree that I like the real grade aesthetic and I like what they are going for with it, I have to say that it is probably one of my least favorite lines to try and customize because of all of the detail and the scale that you are working at. Um, I suppose painting is not too bad, but for someone like me that is way too extra and does the LEDs and all that stuff, it is so difficult to work with something that has this many like little joints and cavities and so many different places that you can mess up. Like I will definitely not be installing LEDs in a real grade anytime soon. I can promise you that. There we go. So this guy, ooh. All right, let's see if I can show this off. So the way that this knee is sort of double jointed, the fin here is on a hinge that allows it to pivot when the knee is bent, which is pretty cool. And so that it flares out when the leg is straight up. First build was a real grade 00 riser. It was an epic fail. Used it to learn different things like panel lines, water slide. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a. I think the real grade kits are fantastic for if you just want to build something out of the box. It's got all the details and all the decals that you need with it. You don't need to do too much to make it look good, which is great, you know. I don't mean to say that it's a beginner's kit. I mean to say that, like, you know, there's not a whole lot you have to do with it to make it look good. Um, and same thing goes for like master grades, you know. You panel line them, you put some decals on them. Out of the box, they look fantastic. But if you want to do, you know, the cute stuff that I try to encourage people to do, such as, you know, putting in LEDs and doing really awkward, gimmicky paint jobs, then high grades are the way to go, just because of all the empty cavity space in their builds. Oh yeah, good luck with that. The Cosmos LEDs are very good from what I understand. I've never, yeah, so let me put a disclaimer on that is that I've never used any of like the third party LED modules. I've only ever, you know, wired up my own LEDs. This counts as half real grade to me, but those HG kits from Origin are very similar and absolutely gorgeous. Yes, I love that the high grade kits from like the Origin kits almost have their own inner frame, which is pretty cool. H43. Okay, where are you? Oh, I'm pretty dumb. The Origin Master Grade Gramps is solid. Huh. Yeah. I don't have any of the Origin Master Grades, but I believe that they are good. I mean, so far everything kind of from the I did so interestingly enough, I saw a thread on Twitter about how the Zaku mono eyes on the Origin kits don't look that great, and I understand where they're coming from. I think that from a customization standpoint, they are some of the more obnoxious ones to try and customize because of the way that the mono eye is sloped on the inside of the lens, or like, you know, the visor is kind of sloped backwards, so it makes it kind of awkward to work with compared to like some of the earlier Zaku's that, you know, they were straight on perpendicular and you could rotate them very easily. What I do like about those Origin mono eyes is that they are a more faithful recreation of like Kunio Okuwara's original design compared to like some of the more modern looking Zaku mono eyes. But yeah, one of the first things that I do whenever I get a new Zaku model kit is file down the I tend to file down the size of the lens. It looks a little goofy when it's too wide, unless you're going for that Turn A Gundam look, which is pretty cool. I mean, if you're gonna make a Borjarnen, then definitely keep the mono eye wide. But if you're going for that like 0083 Zaku F2 look, then the first thing you want to do with any Zaku model kit is shave down the bottom and top of the head so that the mono eye visor is smaller. It just looks much more aggressive and much more cool. I put little magnet switch LEDs on my master grade Gundam from. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, dude, keep at it. I am still super proud of the Bawu that I entered into the Hobbytown model contest last month, and I still need to do the complete build video and review of that competition just so that I can really show off all of the gimmicks that I put into that kit. But because I'm really proud of the way that I installed the switch. Uh-oh. We lose a part? Yeah, just bounce down here. There we go. Get the cat hair off of it. Hey, what's up, 23 Death Number? Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. But yeah, I mean, that's all of the LEDs I work with tend to be these little nano LEDs. They come, you know, I order them on Amazon. They come like, I think it's 12 colors and you get 10 of each of these. They are powered by a simple 3-volt battery. So you can just, yeah, powered by that little guy. Now the next step for me, and I've been working at this for a while, is obviously working with some of these guys. This is an inverter for some of this stuff. This EL wire. So the EL wire requires alternating current power, and so you need an inverter to convert the battery signal, like the direct current, to alternating current in order to get that to work. And then of course we've got these guys, the little microprocessors from Tiny Circuits. I actually am interested in, now that I've had experience building out, you know, LEDs that are wired up with a switch, I am going to build out some LEDs that are wired up for Wi-Fi / Bluetooth connectivity. And I'm very excited to share those tutorial videos with you. Not to say that they don't already have tutorial videos for how to do those things on your own, but I'm going to make tutorial videos for how to implement these things into your Gunpla, because I find that there is a surprising lack of English speaking content. There are plenty of great English speakers that can do, the painting, the scratch building, all of these other aspects of the hobby when it comes to customization. But, if you scroll Twitter, especially like Japanese Twitter, you'll see all of these amazing builds where people are doing crazy things with Arduinos. Um, and they're doing these wild builds, and it's just like, how are they doing that stuff? Well, I'm here to assure you that I am learning how they're doing that stuff, and I'm going to create some English tutorials for you guys so that we can all build these things together. And it starts with things like just this LED. Um, People will tell you that you need to use like these old-fashioned LEDs, that you need like resistors, and you need to do all of your math on your ohms and your amps and your all that stuff. No. These guys are perfect. These little nano LEDs. And Adafruit actually manufactures LEDs that are that small that also will change color for you. So they have an RGB channel. That's going to be one of the things that we're working on. These are all things that I'm planning on integrating into that Hummingbird Zeta Plus C1. And I'm going to be able to do so because if you guys have ever seen the Zeta Plus Hummingbird, then you know that it's got those massive propellant tanks that sit under its backpack. And I'm going to use those to store all kinds of circuitry and wiring. Oh, sorry I missed your question there, Ultronmus. Was your Bawu added to the fancy kit displays? Yeah, so you probably can't see it with this camera angle since I've got it more directly, but it is over there on the lit up shelf next to the Master Grade Zeta. I figured it was appropriate that they fight. I plan on doing a spray paint custom job on the Wing Zero Verka. Do it. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'm looking forward to pushing the envelope on some of these Gunpla builds. That just looks so freaking awesome. I love the way that the color pops on these Epyon legs. The way that have you ever noticed that it almost looks like the Epyon is wearing Lady Un's uniform? It's got like white pants and boots and like the maroon jacket. Like, well, let's look at the finished build here. Like, tell me that that doesn't look like Lady Un. I think that Trey's designed the Gundam Epyon to look like Lady Un. And is there anything more romantic than a man designing a weapon, a killing machine, to look like his beloved? Oh, another promo code that I don't have on screen, but I do have down in the description below. Promo code Hatter will get you one of these guys for 10% off. This is actually the same gun primer razor that I've been using for 3 years now. The back, the back, like the rubber plate that goes on it, the glue separated and came off, but the actual file still works really well. And it's just how well you maintain it. Like if you wash it really well, I typically will give it a good rinse and scrub with some isopropyl alcohol after each kit that I build with it. and that does the trick. Wait, I guess this is slightly nebulous, but it's not clear which was actually built first between the Masala, Ashamar, and Gaza Sea. I always thought that the Gaza Sea came first, and then the Ashamar, and then the Masala. But the Masala was designed exclusively by Shiraka, whereas the others were designed. Yeah. Taco and Yoshi, I recently got the Razor Plus. Yeah. Now, like, look, full disclosure, you can get cheap glass files that do a similar job. This one was one that I got on Amazon. Um, it came in a 2-pack that was like $9, so it was a lot cheaper than the gun primer razor, and it does have a larger surface area. But can you just look at all of the gunk and buildup on this thing compared to the razor, which, you know, I haven't cleaned it since I built the Zeta Plus C1, um, this past week. So, you know, look, sometimes you get what you pay for, but it's worth testing and seeing like what you can get away with for slightly cheaper. All right, so we've got our 2 legs here. A11 is the next piece we need. Amen, brother. I've used cheap glass files. The razor does such a better job. It does, you know? But as with photography, they always say like the best camera is the one you have on you. The best Gunpla tools are the ones that you are the most comfortable with. There is no reason that you can't build amazing Gunpla with nothing but like, right now I'm not even using a legit hobby knife. I'm just using an X-Acto blade. And there are a couple of reasons I like it, because obviously we have the fine tip, but then, having a larger cutting surface, I think it just sliced my finger. Having a larger cutting surface means that I'm not dulling the same point over and over and over again. A lot of those hobby knives, it's like the cutting surface is so small that it's going to dull a lot more quickly. There we go. Sorry, I can speak tonight. All right. And yeah, I do want to show off like this set of nippers that I found. Actually, I have no idea where this came from. I found it in a box of something from uh, just a kit that was in my backlog. I think it was the high grade Psycho Zaku. I was like, huh, where did these nippers come from? They they look, pretty inexpensive, pretty cheap. They're not God hands, they're not Tamiya, but I have to say, for as blunt as these things look and cheap as they look, the the cutting strength is so powerful that it doesn't even matter how sharp they are. Like it snips parts really really well. So it's like probably some of the best nippers I've used in a long time. It's like I don't have to put any effort or force into the cut with these guys. Now the Tamiyas, obviously it's like, oh, you got your precision tip. Looks so nice. It's like, and it's like, I don't really care how comfortable the handle is. Maybe I should. I do have arthritis, so. I was telling my viewers that they can get a $7 to $10 entry toolkit. Yeah, exactly. And that entry toolkit that you can get like on Amazon and stuff it does great. I mean, I've got the here are the nippers that come with like that $7 entry toolkit, and that's the file that comes with it. Like I've still got those sitting around because they do work. The only thing that I think that that toolkit probably needs is maybe just one more sanding stick that is a that's like a higher grit, like almost like a buffing polishing piece, kind of like this guy, you know. Um, yeah, see, I don't even want to do that with this guy. There we go. And for the longest time, I didn't even sand or file any of my Gunpla pieces. I only went with a hobby knife. I used to use a box cutter. My thumbs were. My thumbs looked like I did thumb wrestling with Vega from Street Fighter. Oh man, yeah, that's sweet looking. Legs are coming together. Looking pretty sweet. E112 and D7. Alright. Oh, cheers, Ultronimus. I appreciate you. Sleep well, my friend. Alright. And tell me, what do you guys think? Is this too far away? Do we need to push in on some of this sweet Gunpla action? I think that looks a lot better. What do you think? Get a closer view at what I'm doing here, so that you're not all far away. It was nice to have the camera out of my face when we were in like the, full screen view, but I think that this is a much more informative view of what I'm doing. Wouldn't you all agree? What I need to do is get my hands on a shotgun mic so that you can get some of that sweet Gunpla ASMR. Hey, cheers, no one. Thanks for popping in the stream this evening. And enjoy your Baldur's Gating. Got a little undergate action here. I do enjoy some undergating. And here's some of that trademark real grade color separation here. Because, like the high grade, obviously, this band would just all be one piece. But because we've got the real grade here, You got that two shades of red. Yeah, I've said it before. I do miss the tabletop gaming stuff. If only I don't know. Like I said, in developing a tabletop game, I found that I got burnt out really quickly and kind of fell out of love with, you know, the real big bad evil guy of all tabletop games. You can say it's Vecna. You can say it's, you know, a mind flayer. You can say it's what's the dragon's name? Tiamat. But the real big bad evil guy of any tabletop role playing game is scheduling and getting, you know, 4 to 6 people that are, caught up in the tangle of their lives, getting them together for 3 to 4 hours, weekly, monthly, mm, just doesn't happen, you know? And so then, especially, the prep time that goes into it as well. If you are GMing for a tabletop game and, like, you spend 2 to 3 hours a week, 2 to 3 hours, you know, countless hours a month preparing this adventure, and then, it can be an even bigger letdown when the players that you don't get to see that often, then are just kind of farting around and not taking it seriously. And so, like, I get that. I totally, I don't know, but maybe one day I will return to tabletop development. I did board game reviews for 3 years and got burnt out. Also played the X-Wing tabletop miniature game. That was a fun game. But yeah, like you said, man, tabletop games. All right, hey, cheers. Thanks for tuning in, Taco and Yoshi. And I will go check out that Sky Defender stream from earlier today for sure. I want to see how that went. And I want to see how that Cosmos LED goes into it too. I think it would be my dream goal to build, some turnkey LED solutions. Obviously, I'm going to be doing, like I said, some of those tutorials about making some of these Arduino powered LEDs and, linking up the Bluetooth apps so that you can control your Gunpla with your phone. But for those of you who don't have that kind of patience, would you all be interested in just buying them straight out of the box? Maybe not the same, maybe not the same quality tier as like your Cosmos kits, but like much more affordable and probably designed around high grades because let's face it, that's what I like. I feel like Zelensky from Tommy Boy. I make car parts for the American working man because that's what I am and that's who I care about. Nah, like I say, it's a shame that they don't make more. Is this really supposed to be this loose? There's no way. What the heck? Just likes to fall out for no reason? That doesn't seem right. Yeah, why is it doing that? Okay. Hey, what's going on, Diggler? Good to see you, buddy. Build is going pretty well. I just feel like I screwed something up with this thigh piece. And yeah, Dan, scheduling, especially once you've got kids in the picture, which I know you're coming up on a first birthday here soon, aren't you? Or am I jumping the gun? My daughter's second birthday was this past weekend. Oh, cheers. Happy belated birthday. I trust that you did the classic cake smash. Okay. Let's see here. Just got a little bit more plastic that we need to shave off of there. But again, is this supposed to be this loose? That seems really weird to me. I hope I didn't cut off something from the undergate that I wasn't supposed to. I mean, this part fits on just fine. And according to the manual, it really is only supposed to connect to that one little tab on the back of the leg. You know what? I see what the problem is here. This little part here, that's upside down. All right, folks, get out your shot glasses. Because Hatter did another oopsie. And this time we got a lot further into the build than we probably should have. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's great. Yeah, we did cupcakes for the little one this year. And I ate most of them, Paul Rudd style. Sneaking cupcakes between meals and such. The good news is you aren't going to have to see me in bike shorts because I hate, cyclists and guys that wear the little like cycling outfits and often yell at traffic. And then B, I don't even know how to ride a bike. So, yeah, that's how it goes on. So now we have this on correctly, and this part can slide in here the way it's supposed to. Yep, that looks so much more correct. For those of you watching at home, this is why it takes Hatter so long to build model kits. Is it his rabid perfectionism? No, because he's an idiot that can't look at the instructions. I assure you that my kid's bedroom furniture is much more well assembled than my Gunpla. Come on now. And then another thing that must be said for these real grades is that once you've assembled them, they are a devil to take apart, in most cases. I have to say that there's one part that drives me nuts on the Gundam Mark II real grade. And of course, you know, as they've developed the real grade line, they've gotten a lot better about these types of things. But the Gundam Mark II, it's got these little shoulder armor pieces that, you know, they clip on to the back of the elbow, or shoulder armor, elbow armor, sorry. Forgot my biology there for a second. So it's got this elbow armor that snaps onto the back, that those parts just like to fall off for no reason at all. So I will eventually glue them whenever I get around to really like finishing the customizations that I want to do to that Mark II. In addition, I promised Adam almost a year ago now that I would make a conversion kit for the right arm of the Gundam Mark II so that you could turn it into Banagher's Gundam Mark II, which basically just consists of making a Dovin Wolf arm that can attach to the inner frame of the Gundam Mark II. So it probably shouldn't take me that long to finish it. I know I promised it ages ago, but obviously prioritizing projects is not my strong suit. But if I were to just kind of buckle down and focus on it, I'm sure I could get that built. And of course, it's a lot, you know, with my experience now building certain conversion kits and like measuring out the tolerances and things like that so that they can fit properly, so that the parts can fit properly, I feel much more confident in myself than I did a year ago. Also, the real grade Mark II came out today. I need to get my hands on one of those so that it can sit in my backlog for 7 to 8 months. I kid. Or do I? Let's see here. Looking decent so far. And because these parts are, they've got the feel of high density polyethylene and not polystyrene. We're going to just check this and see if I'm correct. Should be somewhere on the back here. No, as it turns out, these are polystyrene as indicated by the little HDPS right there, which, if I remember my resin codes correctly, and I don't, I think that that's like resin code 6, but suffice to say, this must have some additives in it to make it more pliable and not as rigid as like your typical Gunpla parts, because it does have the feel of polycaps, and polycaps are generally made from high density polyethylene, which is a different type of plastic. So it's worth noting that if you ever tried to um, melt your Gunpla, you know, take out a heat gun or a blowtorch, what have you, the joints, the polycaps, would melt at a faster rate than the rest of the kit, because the melting point of HDPE is much lower than that of polystyrene. And I know what you're thinking. Wait a second. Polystyrene, isn't that the same stuff that styrofoam cups are made out of? As is indicated in the name styrofoam? And you would be correct. Styrofoam is made from the same material as your Gunpla. The only difference is that it's been extruded with foam and expanded artificially to give it that puffy texture. See, you guys, you come for the Gunpla, you stay for the science lessons. Midnight Hatter Amateur Scientist. All this and more on my forthcoming video about recycling plastic. But it just goes to show just how complicated recycling Gunpla can actually be. Especially, you know, in like a home studio situation like what we've got going on here. You know, if you don't have the right tools, the right environment, the right ventilation, and of course, if you are not familiar with all of the chemicals that have gone into your Gunpla in order to treat the plastic, then you are going to be at a disadvantage when it comes to what you need to do in order to break that plastic down. And that's why the like runner deposit like vending machines that they have in Japan, you know, they can go straight back to Bandai. They go straight back to the manufacturer so that they can actually see, you know, and they know where the runners came from. It's like, oh yeah, we know exactly what kind of plastics we used on this, and you know, yeah, it's a lot different than, you know, me, for instance, just popping things in the oven. Because yeah, I can promise you that the polycap equivalent parts that come with these real grades are not pure polystyrene. they definitely have something, a softening agent added to them. And the reason I'm saying all this is because you'll find that I'm like not using the file on them as often as I'm just going straight for the hobby knife, because the hobby knife does a better job and cleaner of removing that stuff. Because it's like, have you ever tried to sand a polycap? It's like, it's just too soft. Because it's designed to be grippy, right? It's designed to be your joints. Or it's intended to, I should say. Cool. Read D16, D17. Let's get in here and remove these first. Okay. Don't want to go crazy sanding these parts because I can tell where this is going to meet another part. It's going to be like a band around it, and we don't want that to be like, we don't want that kind of awkward gap. You ever file a part too aggressively and then you have like an awkward gap between the part that it's supposed to be pressed flush against? It's no good. It's no good. You don't want that. So D16 and 17. Now, as usual, I'm probably not going to finish this kit in one sitting, so we are going to probably wrap up the stream after I finish the legs here, which I think is, you know, probably good if we try to finish, you know, a section per stream. I'll be pretty happy with that. I've got a nice little nub collection going over here, which I don't typically do. Something so satisfying about filing away an undergated part. I sincerely believe that all model kits should undergate when and wherever possible. It's just such a sign of premium engineering to try and remove as many exposed sprue marks and seam lines as you possibly can. And that goes not just for model kits, but for like any kind of manufactured parts. There's a reason that with injection molded parts that are assembled, you'll typically see like the sheathing where it's like, let me see if I can come up with an example here. So with typical injection molded parts, um, amateur 3D printers will do this where they design parts to just butt right up against each other like this. Um, and that's fine, but you'll find that like injection molded parts are often designed with like a sheath in mind. So like for instance, and I don't know what the technical term for this is, but you see how there's this bit of plastic that's raised here in between where the lid meets the edge here, and it just gives you a much cleaner seam and your parts are guided together. Again, all things that I've learned since I have taken up the hobby of designing for 3D print, particularly when it comes to designing things like this that have to fit with other parts. All right, and then I think we're just gonna pop that in there. This goes, well, I don't want to go too crazy with it yet. We'll leave that there and then assemble the other one. I'm just getting excited. Getting excited to assemble these feats. Some of these parts together. You guys ever go to like a nice restaurant where the waiters will like take that like little razor blade thing and scoop up all the crumbs from the from the table, like the place settings and everything? Yeah, you can tell I'm fancy. I went to them fancy restaurants where they got them razor things and they scoop up the crumbs. Excellent. Man, I did not do a very good job trimming this guy, so we're just gonna shave him off. And I can hear you shouting through the screen, cut away from your finger. That's the reason you cut yourself so often. But it's like when you have so much more control over your cut cutting towards you than away from you. There's a reason that like whittlers, do it that way. That part cleaned up there. What an awesome little bit of articulation that is. All right, let's see. So next we need D12 and 9. Sorry, F19. There we go. Those guys, we've got our feet, we've got our legs, and F19. This little fin here. Now, I know a lot of people think that the Epyon is too spiky. It's got too many of these fins and wings and all sorts of stuff. To which I reply, have you seen the Wing Zero custom from Endless Waltz? Yes, it's not that pointy, but it is ridiculous. Those like organic looking feathery wings. At least these look like they were, designed to be a machine. Okay. These are some interesting undergated parts. Again, I appreciate the undergating, but I'm having a difficult time deciding what angle to cut them at in order to reduce the amount of extra cleanup that I have to do afterwards. Since they're kind of like on a diagonal, but they're kind of facing the wrong way. Okay. So this way facing forward, and then this sort of plugs into there. Okay, that's pretty cool. And then same thing on this side, I presume. And this is pretty cool. One thing I have to say about real grades that I like is that even though they have lots of these little interior, inner frame parts and things like that, it's pretty clear to guess. Now, I wouldn't try to do it, obviously, because, you guys have seen that I've put parts in backwards already. But I think that you could reasonably assemble one of these without the instructions, just because you can kind of tell where things are supposed to go. The only perfect grade that I've ever assembled is the The old. I'm not talking about the Perfect Grade Unleashed. I'm talking about the old Perfect Grade Granddaddy Gundam. And that had so many of these like internal parts that um they just like you could not guess where they are supposed to go in the inner frame. It's like, okay, I definitely need instructions here to tell me where to go. What's up, Ian? It is good to see you in chat, my friend. I hope you are having a good weekend so far. Welcome to Hatter After Dark. Now, one thing I would like to do, with these sort of late night build streams, is it would be cool to just get the old boys in the Discord chat hanging out, maybe do some screen sharing and show off all the builds that everyone's got going on. That way, it's not just all about me, because you guys know I don't, it's not about me. I want to see what you guys are working on. Hey, cheers. Thank you. And again, sponsored by Sieg New York. Zionic Shadow and the boys provided the kit. I am just providing the entertainment in the form of me screwing it up. Nah, I don't think I've messed it up too bad. Not yet, anyway. We'll see. The night is still young, as they say. Ooh. Ian, you need to work on that master grade tall geese flugel. Flugel. Speaking of unrealistic wings from Wing Gundam, yeah, the tall geese flugel has those endless waltz wing zero wings. Now I know that Alter, aka No One, left the chat earlier, but he was bringing up just how unrealistic the Ifrit Noct is, being a ninja mobile suit with a katana and kunai. Well, I contend that the Ifrit Noct is still far more realistic and grounded than something like the Wing Gundam Zero from Endless Waltz. You want to talk about like psychological warfare? And is there anything more pretentious than making your mobile suit look like an angel? Like, guys, we're the good guys, I swear. Now, something I have never done with a model kit that I think I am leaning towards doing with either this or the real grade Infinite Justice Gundam provided to me by Ultronomus. I've never attempted a gloss coat finish. Is it any more realistic than funnels or bits? Touche, good sir. Touche. You know that if the U.S. military could make remote weapons like that, they definitely. Well, wait. What do you mean if they could? They drone strike people all the time. It's like if they could have drones that operate in that kind of theater, they definitely would do some kind of funnels or bit technology. But no, one of the things that I want to do with either this kit or the Infinite Justice is try my hand at something like this. A gloss coat. And this is a... They say it's a color shift paint, but I have not been able to see it actually color shift. I mean, the cap looks super color shifty. As you can see, it's got that like holographic look to it. But then if you look at the actual paint itself, you know, some of the little remnants of it, I wonder if I can smear some on a piece of paper or something so that I can get a good demonstration. Do I have a scrap piece of paper around? Here we go. Decal gear. I know how to apply my water slide decals. Thank you very much. I'm trying to show off this paint. So, in my previous experiments with this paint, I have not been able to get a very good color shifting look to it. So as you can see here, this is what the paint looks like when it's wet. I guess technically it catches the light in some ways and looks kind of metallic. This is kind of a junky brush, so I don't necessarily care if it's ruined. If it's ruined. So, would this paint make a Gunpla pop? I know I said I wouldn't do any more purple, but, you know, I lied. You guys know that purple being my favorite color, I'm always going to default to doing something like that for... Yeah. So Ian, you see some sparkles and some rainbow sheen. It's like iridescent. Like it looks like a fish in like the freezer section of the grocery store, you know, how they have like the fish laying on ice and stuff like that. That's what it looks like to me. Funny that we were talking about the military. I attended a retirement ceremony for a friend who retired after 20 years. Big fan of Wing too. Well, there you go. Congratulations. I'm, you know, wishing them all the best in their retirement. And yeah, come on, you got to talk about the military when it's Gundam. Oh, I just love the way that these little... There's like just that little peak of gray that comes through there. Did I already get rid of the gates on this? I guess so. I must have done a very clean job because I cannot even see the remnants of them, which is unlike me. There we go. And there we are. I assume these go on the back of these. Wait a second. There we go. Ooh, that's very cool. I didn't think that these were going to snap in quite so well. There we are. Oh man, looking pretty good so far. Although they are not shaking the not shaking my suspicion that this is going to be a smaller kit than you know, the 1/144th scale high grades, which, you know, again, I was kind of expecting it being a wing kit, but, you know, just a shame to me because, in the words of our good friend, why so short? Why so short? That will probably be one of the modifications I make to this kit. Is I will. Oh, I probably should have cut that over the table. I'll find it. Don't you worry, I will find it. But yeah, I wonder if anyone has done a height modification on the Gundam wingsuits. I've seen a lot of I've seen a lot of modifications to height when it comes to like GMs and things like that. Maybe a couple of Zaku's, but I don't think I've ever seen someone modify the height of a wing kit. Trying to get them to join my Discord. He's good people. I think you guys would get along well. Well, you know, I generally get along with most people. I hope that I don't come off as somebody that doesn't get along with people. Um, I'm only mean online. All right, so 41 and then 42. This is an interesting piece because it has like kind of a just an interesting joint design to it. There we go. We rotate it down. It does this thing where it's like got these locking tabs to keep it held in place. And then from there, well, this is weird. It's like put it in and then, oh, I see what they're saying. So because of the way that it has that locking tab on it, so it's got a tab in there, you put it in like this and then rotate it 180 degrees in order to get it locked in. And that way it does not come out. Again, these real grade kits, they're designed to not come apart on you, which is nice. Although, I definitely assembled it wrong because that's supposed to go to the outside. It's okay. That's, you know, I actually assembled the Zeta Plus C1 in a similarly incorrect configuration where I had to turn the legs around, but because of the way that high grades are designed, I actually had to disassemble the entire upper leg in order to reverse the orientation of the you know, thigh joints where they connect to the pelvis. Whereas these, because they are designed to be rotated 180 degrees, easy enough to flip it over. I don't think I've seen really many custom wing kits outside of paint jobs or adding details to them. Yeah, you know, neither have I. Um, I wonder if that's like, I don't know. I wonder why that is. Like, typically, you know, I've seen like a lot of detail up type deals with wing kits or custom paint jobs, but you know, I've never seen a lot of like the, you know, LEDs or um, you know, any of like the scratch building of parts and things like that. You don't see a lot of that with wing kits, and I'm not sure why. Probably because of UC elitists like me. But no, I'm already thinking like an easy way to add some height to this kit would probably be to simply double up on like this part here. So instead of having 1, 2, and then the ankle, you'd go 1, 2, 3, and then the ankle. So we'd like essentially, it's like the same as the leg lengthening surgery that you can have done, where they break your femur and stretch it out. We'd just be doing it with a Gunpla. Because, yeah, I've seen a lot of guys, like, they'll take, like, a GM and they'll, like, basically make a cut right here and then just add, like, some filler plastic in between. And that gives it, like, an extra little bit of height. But I don't think that that is going to work in this particular case. Hey, what's going on, Anthony? Good to see you in chat, sir. Hope you're having a great weekend. You're here just in time to see me wrap up the legs on this here beast, this two-headed dragon, this Epyon, which I cannot believe I only just made that connection during this stream, that the Epyon is designed to look like Lady Un. I wonder if there's any other fan theories about that, or if am I breaking new ground? There we go. Hey, cheers, brother. Got the threads on too. All right. Now, if that wraps up, that is going to wrap up the legs. So I think we have been going for about 2 hours now. I think I'm going to go ahead and end the stream now. Save some of the juicier bits for later on. Finish this guy up. So far, I'm very happy with how well this build is turning out. It's easy, like, I guess, it comes together so quickly. It's not like, there's not a ton of stuff, there's not a ton of like fluff to it. It just, especially like those feet came together so quickly. Epyon OnlyFan feet pics. Yeah, you want the socks on or off here? That's I'm sorry. The fact that they included that on the real grade uh is silly to me. That like it has these munching dragon feet. That was not in the anime that I remember. Now, one thing I was thinking about is, I mentioned this earlier. I saw that user on Twitter who managed to get that glow effect. So he used basically the same paint as this. It was a different brand, but it lights up under black light. And what I tried to do was I tried to mix this in with, UV resin, or even just 2-part epoxy resin, and I would try to cast the parts using this stuff in order to get like that glow effect. And the part would be in black, but then you would shine a light on it. And actually, you know what, I have a good example of one that I did successfully. So this is where I first came up with the idea. You eagle-eyed viewers might recognize this as Link from Legend of Zelda and the Skyward Sword. Well, he's got this nifty silver Master Sword here, but under black light, well, maybe I have too much light shining on him right here. Let's crank this down a little bit so that we can get the effect to really show. All right. So, under black light, it really glows in blue. which I really liked the way that this effect turned out. Um, and so I was thinking, hey, if I can do it with a silver Master Sword and blue, why can't I do it with a black Heat Hawk and orange? As it turns out, it does not work quite as well. Um, and so what I saw this guy on Twitter do is he actually used multiple layers of paint. He built them up. It was like a black base coat plus a silver gloss coat, and then he put the UV paint on, and then he put the top coat on. And so he's got these knives that are like black, like charcoal black, but then when he hits them with the UV light, they turn orange, like they're heated up. Heat rod. I would love to do that with the heat rod. Unfortunately, this is the one part that they cast in a single mold. Let me pop back into the screen share here. It's super convenient that they cast this in a single mold piece so that you have the color separation and you don't have to manually go in and snap together each piece. Unfortunately, what that means is that, yeah, I don't know how it would paint this without ruining it. So, cheers. Thanks for that. Yeah. If you guys have any ideas, let me know. I'm pretty sure that you can't take it apart. It just comes on the runner like that. Oh well. We'll have to figure it out. So that is going to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of Hatter After Dark, sponsored by Sieg, New York, and the boys up in the tri-state area. Thank you for the Epyon kit. We are going to get this thing finished, and, we'll keep brainstorming exactly what we're going to do to customize it, because I don't feel like this kit should just sit on the shelf in standard, the bog standard maroon. But we'll come up with something. Again, thank you guys for hanging out and chatting with me. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And again, I'm going to be doing more of these, so stay tuned for times. Obviously, I'll, make the stream ahead of time in YouTube and all that good stuff. I'll do a better job of announcing them on Twitter and Instagram. So go give me a follow over there. Links down in the description to all of that. Links down in the description to Sieg New York's accounts so that you can follow these guys. Again, much better builders and painters than I am. Yeah, like I had on screen, you can get 10% off gunprimer.com. Get yourself one of these razors for 10% off with cat code Hatter, just Hatter, and then P-Rex Hobby. If you're in Canada and you're looking for P Bandai, they're one of the few people that are suppliers, and you can get 5% off your order with promo code Midnight Hatter. Again, links down to the description for all of that stuff. So take it easy, guys. Have a good rest of your weekend. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you later. Cheers.